Good evening, everyone. Welcome back to Curb and Kitchen. I'm Kieran, and this is going to be probably the first of many, I hope of many, just weekly updates on Sunday. So every Sunday, I hope to keep track of the Gold Coast market at least. Hopefully over the next month or so, I'll get a Brisbane spreadsheet up. Recap of the week, what's sold, what's new to market, and just a few of those property of the weeks. So we can see here, there was only about 17 properties that had sold within the last week. Sometimes these update quite late, like you've got ones back here that are updated in July or August, but try and kind of clean this spreadsheet out every week. So yeah, not too much of a sell through. So this is kind of where I'll do my weekly update. So we had 74 properties that were listed that have been already bought since 2021. So as you can see from when I started tracking, that is the highest by quite a lot. 53 was the highest. So yeah, 74 properties that were added this week, and 17 of them were sold out of the 275, and 8 were taken down. So I kind of keep a spreadsheet over here of the properties that were on market and have been taken down. There's quite a few unique ones that were listed in the last kind of fortnight and were taken off market. I will kind of go back through these at a later date, and if they are relisted, make a little note that they were relisted, as some of these have been that are currently on market. So you got one here at 2B Wattle Avenue that's been relisted underneath a different real estate agent, as well as this one this week, 7 Cutwater Close, that was relisted underneath a different agent, even though it's already been on the market for about 70 days. Quite a lot have been added to the spreadsheet, so you went from 275 last week to 324. What did sell, so of the 17 properties that did sell, there was still quite a high capital gain of 37%. It didn't cost too much back in May 2021, so they bought it for $415,000, they sold it for $777,000. So very well done to them. But what you can see here, those ones that are making quite high capital growth were bought quite early on. So any of those kind of yellow and green ones you'll see with quite high capital growth, like this one in Sanctuary Cove, 30% growth, 850 capital gain. So a lot of capital gain. So basically, the later you get into this spreadsheet, so the properties that have been bought in 2024 or late kind of 2023, you'll see them have less capital growth. So the market is kind of topping out. The properties can only be worth so much between what people are actually willing to pay for it. So you can see here this got bought in April 2024 for 1.5. They had it back on the market within 6 months for say 1.6, and they ended up accepting an offer for less than what they had it marketed for. So another one here, basically bought this in January 2023 for $870,000, listed it for 1.025 mil, then accepted an offer 30 grand below what it is. So still made a reasonable bit of money, so still 14% over the bit over 18 months. So not too bad there, but yeah, not a whole lot were sold, and I probably will see this continue to happen because there's less buyers out there buying at these ludicrous prices that wouldn't have bought within the last 4 years. So if you had the deposit put aside, say this time last year, you would have bought this time last year, and so on and so forth. So there's just very expensive properties. People can only borrow so much since the cash rate is still at 4.35%. So banks are still loaning out money at about 6.6%. So you can only borrow so much at the moment. So most of these properties, people just don't have enough capital to be able to even have a look at. So what we'll dive into here is just kind of properties of the week, things that have kind of shown up and just a bit unique, or properties that have been bought numerous times over the last few years. So we've got this street at Mornington Court, Pimpamar. I think a developer's Plantation Homes, I think it is called. They have bought basically the whole land. Then they've recently built all these properties on it. So new builds on basically what a Pimpamar block is, anything underneath 600 meters squared is what you get at Pimpamar. Then they put these new homes on it. I want to kind of keep track of how this Mornington Court is selling, because obviously building supplies have gone up. It costs a lot more to build a house in the last 2 years. So obviously the the people that are selling it want to still make net profit at the end of the day. So you do have a 4-bed, 2-bath, 2-garage in Pimpama. Very similar homes all the way down. I think this is one of the more expensive ones. Very similar specifications, slightly different floor plan, and still wanting to sell for 1.46. Lovely job of full kind of knockdown and renovation of this one at Mullendina. Turnover in 2021, so December 2021. A lot of people out buying. Looks completely different to what they did, what it did when they bought it. So, very ordinary home. Then I honestly did thought this was a CAD photo when I first brought it up. I thought it was just a vacant block of land. But this is what it looks like now. So very good knockdown and build. They should see a lot of good returns and quite a lot of feet into the door at their open homes here. Another one here, as I was just touching on building supplies. So this is kind of that very well off. They got a lot of money. Commodore Drive. This block of land has changed hands a few times in the last couple of years. So it was initially bought basically peak of COVID in March 2020 for 3.2. Then sold basically 2 months later for 3.1. Then that person did sit on it for 2 years, then basically doubled their money for the same block of land. Then what's happened now is this person that's bought it in April 2022 for 6 million, gone to an architecture try and get their dream build, started the build, and maybe costs have blown out, and or the builder's gone bankrupt, as a lot have in southeast Queensland and around the country, not able to build their dream home because probably supplies have gone up, or the builder's out of business, and they're left with a kind of the foundation, and that's about it. And now it's back onto the market, which is quite sad to see. So I'd be very surprised if they make any money off the $6 million that they bought it for. People would prefer to buy a vacant land, as they have. Another good renovation here at Mudgeeraba. So yeah, bought it in February 2022 for $720,000. Fully renovated it. I can show you the kind of few before homes. Yeah, we've seen a lot of these homes in the past, and this is what it looks like now. So your classic coastal white. Personally, I'm not much of a fan of it. Doesn't have much character. Yeah. Spreadsheet here for global financial crisis homes, trying to say, oh, property always goes up in Australia because the government kind of helps subsidise it, and it always is good for the investor. But we'll just touch on a few homes that I have found in the last 2 days of the new ones going to market. What can happen? So yeah, this was kind of a result of quite early in the GFC. So this took basically 15 years for the same property to only have a capital growth of, what was that, about 50 grand. And this is once again one of those properties that have been bought in October 2021, sold in September last year, and once again is on the market this year. Another fun one here. So this is, I think it's Leighton Hewitt and Beck Cartwright's, or Beck Hewitt's family home, quite close to the beach in Burleigh Head, so it's only 500 metres away from the beach. Was bought twice in the 2021. I think this was quite a high buy price for them, especially in Burleigh. There wasn't a whole lot of people chasing properties in Burleigh compared to what there is now. 4.3 million in Burleigh for, like, it's an architectured home, so a lovely home, but for 4.3 million back then, I'd be very surprised to see it go for above 5. Yeah, just another very nice build, and it's a very close location to Burleigh Head. It's just a bit north of Burleigh Headland. Once again, this is another property that has been on the market quite a few times in the last 3 years. This recently got sold. Coomera, Ormo, Yatala, Pimpama, all those areas are still growing since they're kind of that still in that affordable budget, especially even kind of last year and the year before. You could still find homes there for around 650 to 700,000. So those first home buyers were able to kind of get into the market up there, and that's probably one of the only places on the coast that is still seeing a decent bit of growth year over the year. Not too much of a home to write about, honestly. Up at Coomera, you get maybe 800 square metres at the top end. So just your standard 4x2x2 on 400 square metre blocks, and they're looking for about 850,000 nowadays. And this is once again similar to that kind of Commodore Drive, Monaco Street, Broadbeach Waters. A lot of lovely homes on the Nerang River there. This house kind of covers what happened in the GFC as well as kind of what's happening now. So it was bought in 2008. This is around the time Lehman Brothers collapsed, for 4.1 million. Then 6 years later, it was sold for 2.7 million. So quite a decent loss over those 6 years. Even more recently, it was bought in October 2021. So as I've touched on, quite a lot of people looking to buy around that time. Cash rate was very low, a lot of liquidity going around since no one could travel or do anything. Businesses were performing quite well because of JobKeeper and just a lot of profit in the retail economy in Australia. So yeah, bought in October 2021 for $14.5 million and is back on the market 3 years later, going to auction at the end of this month. So it seems to have had kind of fluctuated between 87 and 89 Monaco Street, as well as just calling it 87. It's the same block, they haven't added another block at all. So yeah, it'd be interesting to see if they even get anywhere near close to that. They may do. That kind of higher end is still growing as well, similar to kind of that Coomera, bit of a strange dynamic. Once we're kind of touching on this, I will bring up the GFC homes that I kind of have found. Once I'm looking at the last 2 days, these are the kind of 10 properties that I have seen pop up that were bought around that 2007 to 2009, then were sold quite a few years later at a loss. So you can kind of see the losses range from anywhere from 5% all the way up to 37% over, say, 5 years. So bought it quite when once again, the homes had a lot of liquidity. Sold it within the next 10 years at a loss. Some were quite significant at like 1.4 million in Broadbeach, so quite an expensive home. Once again, Monaco Street, which I just touched on. If I do see a few homes that kind of match the buy time and they kind of line up, most of the places I have seen bought around this time that were sold kind of before 2018 have had a loss, and I just wanted to keep a record of that since I kind of see it playing out the same way. Kind of maybe in 2025 we might see a few of these more red figures pop up, since people just don't have the borrowing power to purchase these homes. So yeah, pretty strong week as far as what did sell. Made a decent lot of money. I think it was about 37% on average. Once again, not too many sold though, so quite a weak selling. Only had that kind of 12 and 13 later last year. Yeah, only 8 taken down. So a lot of properties were added, and I do still think they will go up. You still have a monthly supply, so we're still running at about 4.3 months supply. So there's currently about 3,400 properties on the market, and there's about 780 that have been sold within the last month. So that kind of just gives you the idea that kind of anywhere between that 5 months to 6 months is quite healthy, or kind of swing back into that buyer's market, just depending on the suburb at the moment and kind of what that buy price is. It's still kind of favouring the seller at the moment. So yeah, if you would like access, just a viewing of this spreadsheet, just send me an email at curbtokitchen@gmail.com, and I can basically give you access to this spreadsheet just for viewing purposes, if you'd like to just kind of look into it, since you can't really touch it too much when I'm just filtering through it quite quickly. Thanks a lot for sticking around if you got to this point. Hopefully I didn't chin away for too much, and as always, support your local butcher, baker and the fruit and veg maker. I'm Kieran from Curb to Kitchen, and we'll see you next week. Bye.